born and raised artist and muralist. She has painted nearly 40 murals across Texas, Arkansas, Missouri, and Kansas since 2015. 10 of the total number of her murals can be seen in Texarkana, 5 of which are public art that anyone and everyone can see and interact with. Her aim is to make art that comforts, energizes, and inspires its viewer. She believes in wearing her heart on her sleeve, her canvas, and every wall she paints. Please help me welcome Jes Weiner.
Hey, thank you, Chris, and thank you, TRAHC. I am so thankful for a program like this that just champions the arts of the city, that loves the arts and respects it, and I'm just giddy that I get to be here tonight. And so sorry, you'll have to forgive me. I'm a little bit nervous. I don't really do public speaking very much. I do plenty of painting in the public eye, but speaking not so much. So forgive me. I might glance at my notes and things like that. You guys like my outfit? It took me a little bit to find some clothes that didn't have paint on them, so I was really proud of this. So today we're going to be talking about small works versus big works. And I'm going to touch on it really briefly because really the difference for me is that one is bigger. The process, at least for me, is not that much different. I'm a freehand artist. Lots of muralists will do grids. My brain just does not work that way, so I paint every wall like it is a canvas and just get it to work. It makes my dad really nervous, but it always turns out all right. Anyway, so I'm just so thrilled to be here, and thank you guys for showing up. I see so many familiar faces. It's just really blessing to see everybody. But anyways, we're going to jump right in. So I guess we'll start with some of the murals here. It is the public murals here in Texarkana. Just so that you guys can put a face with the paintings. I'm sure everybody has seen that one. The process for this, we'll kind of go through the process of each mural, just I don't know, to give you guys a little glimpse into what it's like, at least for me. I can't speak for all muralists, but this is what it's like for me. We're going to start with the one that was the most challenging for me, because this one I could not freehand. It took a lot of math, and a lot of measuring, and a lot of taping. This was a beautiful commissioned piece by Kristen Darby. She designed this piece, and then I got to put it on the wall. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot with that one. And then we've got Texarkana balloons. We're going to kind of segue with this one into the impact that murals can have just on a community. Because I've been tagged in photos with this mural more than any other one. From people from Texarkana, people passing through Texarkana. I'll show you just a few of them actually. Let's see if I have one. Here's just a few of them. Some of these people are local, and some of them aren't. One of them, I know for sure, actually knew someone from Texarkana, but was not from Texarkana, had never been to Texarkana, saw that mural on their social medias. That's a cool mural, I want to go see it. Knew they were going to be passing through, came down the state line and found that mural to take a picture in front of it, which I think is really, really neat. Just the impact that it can have. That little, I don't know, this little interactive balloon mural here, we'll pull it back up, sorry you guys. Has drawn people to our little city. I think that's the neatest thing. I heard this really cool story years ago on a TED Talk, and I had to go digging for it again on the internet. But there was this couple of artists from Holland, and they were vacationing in Rio de Janeiro. And across the water from the resort, and I have a point to this, I promise you, I'm not just telling a random story. Across the water, they could see this little village, this favela, really poor area with buildings lining the water and going up the hill. And one of them, a muralist, said, that would be a really cool place to put a mural. So they wandered into the city, and they asked the local people living there, said, hey, how helping us put a mural on the walls. I said, yep, let's do it. They started with this one. This, I couldn't find a picture of all of the buildings, but they actually painted many buildings blue. And this picture of this boy holding a kite. The kite ended up on the other end of the village. So it took up the entire thing. Well, the cool thing about this was the people staying in the resort across the water could see this mural, and it piqued their curiosity, and many people came to visit to see the mural, and they got to see the value that was already there because the color drew them in. The people living in this little village knew their worth, and they had little businesses and shops and economy of their own. But because someone said, look at all of the value here, let's add value by putting color on the wall, by putting something beautiful for the people who live here to see. So let's draw others in to partake and to participate. And so, how lucky are these people in this little resort that got to come and participate and be part of this place that they weren't familiar with, all because of art on the wall. Well, these two muralists actually got a call from the city of Philadelphia, and they were actually asked to paint murals throughout the city, and they employed people who lived in the city just to paint these walls, and they kind of got this mission, this fire in their pants to just paint every wall. Well, they went back to Rio de Janeiro, and I learned this recently while I was researching the story again. They went back and they painted everything. They painted all of it. That makes me really emotional when I see this. Oh my gosh. I feel like when we put color on walls, it attributes value to the people who live amongst those walls. And so that is always my aim every time I do a mural is, gosh, I hope the people that see this know that they're worthy of seeing this. Sorry, I get emotional about art. So that's just my aim and my passion is that, gosh, I hope people know that they're worthy of the time and the resources that it takes to put a beautiful color or a beautiful picture or a piece of artwork on the wall. Sorry, going back. That kind of leads me to another little story. I'm actually going to read this so that I don't blow you. I don't know if this will do sound okay. This is a mural that I did in North Kansas City. A really, really tasty Honduran restaurant up north in Kansas City. It was, I did it last summer. And this client of mine, she found me online and she asked me to come do this mural. She wanted to pay homage to her home country. She wanted to add some color to the area. And when I got there, I saw that this was going to be the only wall with color in it, at least in the stretch of driving that I had done in this little neighborhood. And I was painting this one. It was for her restaurant, and it was just rainbow and plants and macaws and her flag. And the most fascinating thing about doing this mural was I got more thank yous from people walking by than I've ever gotten. It was an odd but pleasant experience. Every passerby, some guy drives by and rolls his window, hey, it looks beautiful, thank you. It's like blowing kisses out the window. And I was like, it was probably one of my first moments going, art has such a potential to make a powerful impression, not only on the people that live there, but just the people walking by and going, sorry, I gotta close my husband, he's looking cute right now, so I just blushed a little bit. the people passing by and going, finally, someone sees us. Someone sees that we, that we deserve art and beauty. And that's, I don't know, that's been something that has always stuck out to me about murals is the interaction that I see with them and how people feel seen, just in a picture on the wall. We'll go to this one really quick too. I just finished this one over off of Arkansas Boulevard. It's a dentist office off of Arkansas Boulevard. And that last story kind of plays into this one. I asked him why he wanted a mural on the outside of his building, because I thought, for a dentist office, that's such an interesting, strategy to put a mural on the outside of his dentist office. And he said that it was his new building, and he said he wanted the patients that were following over from one office to this one, he wanted them to know that they were worth it and that he was willing to invest in them further by putting this beautiful piece of artwork on the wall. And not only them, but everyone who walks by gets to stand under this sweet little mural. Well, it's not little, it's actually quite big, it's like 3 feet wide, but these balloons that say smile and smile that day, or smile for that moment. Yeah, this can just be a really, really cool way to invest in your community. I guess I'm trying to segue, sorry guys, it's not going to probably be a little bit clunky, you're going to have to forgive me as we go from subject to subject. But I thought this was such a cool way for a business to invest in their community and to cultivate a sense of community amongst the people that are in it, that are in that community. Keith Haring said art is for everybody. He was a muralist. He started out doing mostly stick figures. He's an activist. And his first mural he did, at least as far as I know, actually no, sorry, that's his second mural. We'll talk about his first mural real quick, and then we'll talk about his second mural. But his first mural he did, and I do not condone this, obviously, you need to get approval from the city to put a mural on a wall, but he did a mural, and halfway through his mural, a police officer walked by and said, I'm going to have to fine you for this mural. I said, okay, how much is it? And he said, how much it's going to be. Okay, got down off his ladder, wrote a check, and said, I think I'll finish the mural now. So went to finishing his mural, and he was asked, by the time of his second mural, first one was uncommissioned, second one was commissioned because it was just so beautiful and so excellent, and everyone loved it so much because it was attributing value to people who got to see it. And so he did a second mural, as far as I know, it's a second mural on the side of Mercy Children's Hospital, and I can't remember what city, if you'll forgive me. And they said, why do you love painting murals? Why murals? Because he was scheduled to do many throughout the year, and he was going to actually be doing a collaboration with many children. I don't know if y'all remember there's one by him. It's the Statue of Liberty. You may have seen it on the Sesame Street intro back in the 90s. That's inspired by Keith Haring's work. Anyway, so he was asked about murals and why he loves them. So because it's for everybody. There's no admission fee. It's completely free. Everyone gets to see it. The person who can afford to buy it buys it, and then everyone gets to see it. There's no tape for them to cross. Everyone gets to participate. That's also why I love murals. I adore murals because everyone gets to see it, and everyone gets to participate, and everyone is entitled to see beautiful and wonderful things. And so, with that, we'll move on to, Love Thy Neighbor. This was a mural that I did in June or July of 2020. This was one that a lot of people got to participate in. I'm just curious, if you're in the room and you got to put a brush to this wall, raise your hand. This was a community effort in response to things that were heavy and felt negative and were negative and tragic in the news. And one of my convictions as a muralist is, if I'm going to put art on a wall, I want to exude positivity and hope. And so in the face of tragedy and not having answers, I wanted to have an answer, and that was all I could come up with. Sorry, you guys. Sorry, I'm not trying to cry over my own work. It was an emotional process. But this mural is my goal for all murals. I hope that people are able to see work on a wall and be encouraged and feel hope for the future and answers to unanswered questions and maybe not even answers, just hope and finding them. So sorry, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm an artist. This is what happens. We cry a little bit.
Cry a lot.
We cry a lot.
Cry a lot.
You get it, Jennifer. Which brings me, this is actually my first mural in Texarkana. My first large one, at least. I did a little one on a door at my mom's house in 2015, and it exploded from there. So this is my first mural in Texarkana. My lovely muse and model, Kayla Thompson, here down here in front. She was someone that inspired me, someone who was very involved in the community, and I wanted to honor the community by putting a face of someone who is actually a part of it on this wall. And so I had the first one, and I'm like, I think I'm going to do a portrait that's 20 feet tall, 15 feet tall. I've never done that before. I think I'll do it. And did it for the most part. Learned a lot with that one too. This was it was a learning experience, but it was marking, I guess is the best way to put it. As I painted this person's face on this wall, I just hoped and prayed for my little hometown that they would shine bright. This little shine bright at the end. I was like, I'm gonna put Texarkana in the classes. It's really cool. It's gonna be funky. And at the end, it just kind of felt right. But I'm just gonna speak this over my little town. I'm trying to find a word. Encourage. Is a soul word? Is soul? Is that a word? Okay. To shine bright, to be a city on a hill that everyone can see, because this city has so much to offer, and the people here are of depth and of meaningful inspiration and ideas, and to see this little downtown area just blossom has done. It's done wonders for, I don't know, my little artist soul to see, my hometown start to blossom again with color, and to see the community come together time and time and time again. And all of you just being here is that, this community coming together. And so, I'm sorry, y'all. I'll end with this. Cultivating a sense of community through murals is an excellent strategy to bring people together and create unity, to instill unity in the people that's downtown in every area to feel seen, and to feel heard, and to feel like they're part of it, to get to stand in front of things like this, or like this, and know that they're a part. That's all I want. I think we will move into question and answer. I have a hard time just talking at you guys, so I would love to hear what y'all have to say and what questions you might have about the process.
First of all, I think you're awesome.
Thanks.
Okay, so the most obvious question I have is your materialists and like when you build into a project, is there a process or a formula or something that you use to kind of calculate, okay, how much stuff I'm going to have to bring to the table so I'm not running the store every 5 seconds?
I tend to bring too much paint. I have a friend of mine who assists me with a lot of murals, and we always walk away with 1 extra palette. So that tends to. So I assess the best I can.
I've seen some of the work that you're doing, and there's been learning curves. Can you address some of the things that you've learned that were either hard because of the way you did it, or dangerous because of the way you did it, or anything like that?
Yes. I have learned a lot about lifts, scissor lifts, and bucket lifts. I'll just tell this story. This is fun. This mural, oh my gosh, it's about 40 feet off the ground. It's 30 feet wide, 20 feet tall, something like that. But it's 40 feet off the ground total. And I had a scissor lift, and this was before, I don't know if it's paved there or not yet, but this was at least before it was paved. And scissor lifts, they only operate well if they are perfectly level. And the ground was not perfectly level at the time of this. And this is a good fun story about the community coming together and to make something happen. So I was on this scissor lift. We had been putting boards underneath it to make sure it was perfectly level. Even still, I could feel it swaying in the wind, moving about like this, rolling each little block. And I heard a voice from above me go, "Hey, I don't want to scare you." And it was a member from the community. He said, "Hey, that looks precarious." I said, "Yeah, it is. It's going to be slow going. I really wish I had a bucket lift, but it's just not my budget." And you need a bucket lift? I'll be back in 5 minutes. And I'm not kidding you. He came back literally 5 minutes later, around the corner with that truck, and said, "Hey, I wanted to make sure you can operate it." So I got up in it and I moved around, came back down, and he handed me the keys. Said, "Cool, go park it in this spot when you're done." And so that was a really cool way that the community came together to make this happen. That always happens. I always have somebody step in, "Okay, can I help with this?" And it always blesses me. I'm trying to think of another. I used scaffolding for that bad boy, and I was 5 months pregnant with my daughter, climbing up and down scaffolding, and I thought my legs are going to be in fantastic shape by the end of this. It's going to be great, and it was. I was very sore. So I learned that I wanted to use lifts from then on. No scaffolding for me.
I know you say that the pieces encourage the community, but I have visited your TikTok, and it extends much further than the cities that you actually inspire. That's not a question, but that's a statement. Is some of your videos of your, like the one you did in Chris's home, there's like 1 million views of people that haven't visited Chris, but it's touched so many people, so I think that's really awesome.
Right, that's a really, really fun. Actually, let's see if I have a picture of that one. I did, you mind if I show? Okay.
That was, my question was going to be private versus public works.
Right. Okay.
Can I restate the question so that folks on the live stream?
Sure, I'll restate it. Okay, talking about I have a TikTok and I tend to do a lot of videos, and this was one that did really, really well and touched a lot of people. So this was a commissioned piece for a private resident, Chris was here. And this was her front porch and front door. How cool is that? I am every HOA's nightmare, which is all I aspire to be.
If you're gonna be emotional, it's still absolutely gorgeous, and every day when I walk by it brings me joy. And I know people in my neighborhood, that, if I might just say, the reason why I chose to do this was there are a lot of children that live across the street from me that I guess that this is probably the one time they see beautiful artwork. And it was like instead of doing one of those little libraries, this was my way of doing little art.
I love that. She said that instead of doing it with a little library, I think I've seen them take a book, leave a book libraries in neighborhoods. This was her version of doing that so that children could walk by and see beautiful work. I love that. We're cut from the same cloth, Chris. That's why I do that as well. So you were asking about the difference between working with like city government and private commission. Well, not a whole lot of difference, just to make sure everybody likes it, everybody's gonna like what's going on the wall, and that's appropriate for the space. I know with this one, I was thrilled when I heard I was gonna get to do Starry Night inspired mural. I was like, I'm gonna follow her. I was so excited. I got to do this one later. This was also a mango inspired mural with the sunflowers, and I kind of went on a kick there for a little bit. I had a blast with that. It's actually my parents' laundry room. Here's a little bit of, I love experimenting, but that's something that I think sets me apart a little bit as a muralist. It's almost like a contractor. I just do what you would like. I will adapt and I will put whatever you like on the wall. So I had one client, an Airbnb. She said she wanted loosely inspired by street art / storybook / just real colorful. And I said, okay. And I went and looked at some of Keith Haring's work. I was like, we're gonna stick some of his fun little guys in there and mash it all together. That was a lot of fun. This was another Northwest Arkansas mural. That last one was too. It's a map, a landmark map of all the places in the area. It was kind of fun. Anyway, sorry, that was a little bit of a tangent. Anybody else have a question?
I know you said that you freehand typically. When you do words, like the motorcycle shop, whichever direction that is, I just saw it the other day. Did you trace out the letters first, or did you create like a baseline, or how do you do that?
So with that one, she was asking about, I did a motorcycle shop, Cycle Club Texarkana, down the street from here. I did big words and then their logo kind of down on the ends. She was asking if I freehand that or if I have a different process. And for that one, I did mostly freehand that, depending on the kind of font. If it's a handwritten font, it's something that has a little bit of wiggle room for creativity or room for not error, but just not jet being printer perfection. I will freehand it. The nice thing about that building is it's cinder block. It's have a built-in grid already there, so that always makes a huge difference. Like right with the cinder block, perfect for painting on, especially fonts and letters.
I'd like to comment on, I think one of the reasons why so many of us like to follow you is because you make it so much fun when you're videoing, I can't quite say that, when you're filming your project, and you're crazy. You're just having so much fun with it. And you are. You can see your brush strokes and what you're doing at the time, and then you come back and say, this is completed. And it makes it so real for all of us, other than just a flat picture.
I'll say it first. She was talking about videos again. Just like involving everybody in on the process and getting to see it go up in real time. So just picture.
to me, that was one of the cutest videos you had done.
It's part of the process, though.
It is.
It's part of the.
It is part of the process, having to adapt.
I was going to ask, whenever you started making those videos, is it something like, oh, this is really something I need to continue to post these? Is it kind of like a light bulb?
I think I've always had a lot of fun with film, like just not even college, even like in high school and college. I was that person that was like dancing in front of the camera, being stupid for YouTube for no reason, and so I've always loved that, and I've always loved like tweaking and editing and things like that. So when I discovered TikTok, I was like, oh my god, free editing software. So yeah, I don't know. I've always loved creating stories and storylines, and with murals, it's in real time. It's a true story. It's happening right there, and I love involving the community as well as people beyond it, and it's just mostly to encourage people that like, look, this is not magic. I know I call my brand is the Magic Hat Muralist, but it's not like poof. It doesn't just end up there, and I'm out there painting, and people walk by and they see it looking like halfway done, and I'm like, I was like, it's gonna be beautiful, I promise. Just come back tomorrow. So yeah, I love involving people along the process.
The name Magic Hat Murals, where does it actually come from? I know the hat, but I mean, there's more to it.
Magic Hat Murals, it's kind of silly and funny. I brought my hat with me because I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. So I started wearing this hat just to keep paint out of my hair, and I wore it so often, and I started doing so many murals back to back, especially in Texarkana. A couple passerby would make a comment, oh, it's the flower hat artist, it's the girl in the crazy hat, like, and then I had someone at an art show once. I was all dressed up and not covered in paint, and he made a comment, I almost didn't recognize you without your hat, and I was like, I think I gotta make something of this hat. It's here with me, so, and also I can never lose it. That would be bad. So this little hat just kind of became, a mascot and also a security blanket. I don't know, a lot of artists will have a little ritual, like you have to have your iced tea and you gotta have like the right shoes on. For me, it's this little hat. And I'll say one more thing, because I know that this would bless me if I heard it coming from another artist, so I don't know. I'm just gonna say it for the other artists that's out there. So I have ADHD, hyperactivity disorder. I am hyper, and I never grew out of it. Well, something really cool that I learned about hats and ADHD brains is there's almost boxing in and reining in of your thoughts that are going crazy at 9 miles an hour. When you put on a hat or headphones with some kind of just like restriction on your head. And so I had said to somebody that I was like, that hat helps me way too much. And she's like, actually, I read this the other day about ADHD and hats and headphones and blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh my gosh, it's just your hat really is magic. So that's the story behind it. It was keeping paint out of my hair, but it was such a wild
Put it on.
pattern. Oh gosh, I don't know about that. Do you recognize me now? So, oh, there she is. There you are, Peter. Sorry, I'm just quoting movies now. Anyway, so, yeah. I know we're kind of running out of time, so.
Oh, yeah.
Please.
One more.
Okay, to go back to video for a second, so sorry everyone. I don't remember if it was in your Instagram story or on TikTok, but you painted the smile and then you were like, I was up all night because I want to do something else, and you went back. Can you show us a picture and tell us what it was?
Sure. Let me see if I can find it. Where is it? All right, I'm going to unplug so you don't see all the pictures of my children. I have to literally scroll through thousands of pictures, I'm sorry.
I sent you the old picture, prior pictures to your messages.
Oh, here it is.
I didn't mean to throw a hard ball.
No, it's okay. Is that one? I think it is. Sorry, Chris.
You're
You're
good.
making the face like,
You're
oh,
good.
if you don't want it.
We'll see.
It's thinking.
It's thinking. It's okay. If it decides not to, sorry, y'all. I just don't want to scroll through thousands of pictures.
Can you restate the question, please?
I will restate the question. She's asking about the Smile Balloons mural that I did over on Arkansas Boulevard. Here, I'm going to turn around for you guys to see. So this is the first finished product. Does anyone see anything that bothers you? You're allowed to say it.
Well, I can't believe he's gonna try to.
It'll come back.
I'm so sorry, Chris.
That's all right.
Was there more white before maybe, or the shadow? I don't know.
There's actually one comment on Instagram where someone got it right, and I was like, yes, I knew it wasn't just me. So what was bugging me is that the M in the middle, the little part was too far down and far away, it looked like an H, and I was afraid it looked like a red Shia. And lots of people were like, no, I don't see it, it's a smile. And my brother was like, any reasonable person would read that, read smile. I'm like, not everyone is reasonable. I'm really sorry, I just looked it. But anyways, that was the difference. And then I had some like little sparkles and things like that. Just as I was feeling it.
The whole shop on there.
Did you have a question?
I did. So, can you talk about what maybe an ideal mural would look like for you? I mean, a lot of times you get to paint things that other people like and what they're interested in. If you got to pick and put whatever you wanted, just share a couple of ideas.
If I got to pick and paint whatever I wanted, that's funny. That's an interesting question because my phone is full of pictures of blank walls as I pass by. I'm like, that'd be really cool. So I did it on my way here today. And so there's not really an ideal because I feel like I get a different idea for almost every wall that I pass by. Or I'll get a picture in my head and I'll draw it on a napkin and then it makes its way to my iPad. So I have a whole folder just full of not random, but different kinds of mural ideas, and really no two are alike. I think I found it a career gold mine for an ADHD brain because I get to do something that is challenging and larger than life and different every single time. And I get to help people put their idea on a wall or on paper, and I love when it goes right. It's like, it's the best. It's just chef's kiss. So yeah, I don't have an ideal mural. I have like 100 different ideas. So I just need 100 more walls.
I have like friends who are muralists, and they've had situations come up where they love it, and they show it to the person who commissioned it, and they're like, this is not it. Has that ever happened for you?
That has never happened to me yet. I've had plenty of, so I do a lot of designing on the front end, and we'll take a picture of the wall, and then I will draw on my iPad on that wall over and over and over again until we get to a place that we like it. And I always have this disclaimer, look, this is digital art right now, and it's going to be painted with a brush and a hand. So keep in mind, it's going to look a little bit different from where we're at now. But I don't start painting a wall until I know that they're going to love it. In fact, it's really funny. Oh my gosh, no. I did have that happen, but it actually turned out really great. I was not done. I was halfway through. I did a mural for a pizza place opening in Pleasant Grove, and we had a miscommunication about which design they wanted. I had sent 3 pictures. The first 2 pictures were one design in different color schemes. And then I sent a second design that was different. And they said, we love the second one. They meant the second picture. So I started painting the third design. And thank God, my client came by to check on me just to make sure I was okay because it was hot. And which was very sweet of her. And she was like, oh, that's not the right design. I was like, what? no, we're gonna roll with it, and thank God, I had started painting something that was a little bit more straight-laced and clean cut, and they wanted a graffiti style, so it was all uphill from there. It's like, we're just gonna mess this up really quick, and it turned out to be one of my favorites, so, no, I never finished one, but I definitely did have to start over recently.
How do you fix mistakes you make?
Just more paint. Just wait a little bit, let it dry, and then come back with some more paint. Actually, oh my gosh, okay, so this is a good friend of mine. She's an assistant as well, my creative assistant. She helps me on a lot of these big ones. We did a mural in Murfreesboro, Arkansas, and that one was finished. And we had walked away, it had been cold all day, freezing and windy and rainy, and we were so ready to go home, and I stepped back and I looked at it, and she informs me that it's spelled wrong. Murfreesboro is spelled wrong. And I was like, well, at least the sun has come out. Like, the sun came out as we were packing our paint up. So I just got my cup of water and I redid those letters. It took, I guess, another 30 minutes and it was fine. It was not a huge mistake. But yeah, that was, could have driven home. But like, you spelled our city's name wrong. Murfreesboro is spelled Murfreesboro, just so everyone knows.
What's your favorite color?
Can you restate the question?
She was asking what my favorite color is. I like this color a lot, and then this teal color, and I also like the color of a mallard duck's head, that weird green. I like that.
So how do you find clients? Do they find you by social media or word of mouth?
I find a lot of clients through social media and by word of mouth. There's also a cool little app called Thumbtack. If you're an artist or a muralist, there's an app called Thumbtack, like a bulletin board Thumbtack. And it's just a little profile I have, and every once in a while, pretty consistently, I get leads pretty consistently, but I get 2 to 3 clients a year through that. But lots and lots of interaction through that. But mostly social media and word of mouth.
Can you describe just briefly if someone wanted to hire you what the process looks like?
Sure.
The design process? Just
Sure, really quick. So if you wanted to commission a mural, we'll pick the wall. I'll come, I'll measure the wall. If I'm not in the state or not in the city that you live in, you will measure the wall, send me the measurements, and then I will give you a quote based on the wall and the complexity of the design, and then we'll agree on a quote, and then I'll come and start painting. I'll do several designs until we figure out exactly what we want and that my client is happy, and then I'll come and I'll paint, and I will go home and we'll both be happy.
Are you starting to do a lot of traveling now?
I am. I do, in the summer, every year I do a lot of work here in Texarkana, but I travel Texarkana through Northwest Arkansas, Kansas City area, those 4 states, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas. I do a lot of work amongst those little places. I've just submitted something to Lakewood, Colorado. We'll see. Go beyond.
Vacation?
how long does it take you to complete something on average?
On average, I was asking how long it takes me to complete a mural on average. It depends. Because I'm a freehand artist, I tend to move pretty quickly. The most time-consuming part of my job is the design, making sure that what's going on the wall is exactly what we want to put on the wall. So this one, the smile one that we just talked about, that took me, after I did the math, about 16 hours total.
And how big is it again?
It's a little under 30 feet wide, and it's 15 or so feet off the ground. So,
Jess, we're talking about kind of the process. So at some point, you had to figure out the business end of this. So can you tell us a little bit about how you figured out how to turn this into business and any of the interesting stories in that process.
Yeah, so she was asking about the business end of being a muralist and kind of, it was trial and error, honestly. I started getting more consistent work while I was living in Kansas City through that app, THUMBTACK, that I was talking about earlier, doing chalk and window murals, and then I started doing a few little murals for restaurants. Here, I'll show you. Well, no, that's okay. I'll go to it anyway, and I'll turn it around. Sorry, y'all. Like, so the Kansas City mural with the rainbow, and that was a business. This was a falafel place, a Mediterranean place. I'll turn it around. I'm so sorry, Chris. I feel so awful. I don't know if you can see it. It is a vegetable mandala. He wanted to pay homage to his Middle Eastern heritage, and as well as all the ingredients that this little shop was all about. Maybe that was our problem. I don't know. The cord just fell out. I'm sorry. Who just asked me a question?
Business side.
Yes, sorry.
It's okay, that's
ADHD brain. We jumped through some hoops there. So I started taking on jobs in Kansas City, kind of through that THUMBTACK app, and as I built, positive reviews through that little app, it just kind of took off, and started posting to social media, and then the trial and error of how much to charge, how long something's going to take me. I'm still learning that. There's certain things, because I do something different almost every time, it's hard for me to gauge exactly how long it's going to take me until I'm there. But for the most part, because I know I'm pretty fast, it sounds weird to say fast but good, I promise you guys, I'm not, halfway doing anything. I don't know, I usually I eyeball everything, to be perfectly honest, but.
So how did you standardize pricing? Because that's what you've done.
Right, I charge by the square foot. Yeah, that's how I standardize pricing. Just like we were talking about, it's hard to estimate how long something's gonna take. So that no one is left in the dark, like, oh, she's charging by the hour, that's a big mural, that could take weeks. Which is a perfectly valid way to price something, but for me and for my clients, it's just worked out best that I charge by the square foot. Everyone knows exactly how much they're paying at the end of the day, and then everybody's happy.
Do you typically source your materials through a specific vendor? Do you go and price out there and just figure out how it's going to get your market?
Here, I love Dots Runs and Lowe's. Those are my favorite.
I think we've got time for at least one more question.
Okay.
So,
One more question?
or any question?
Do you put any kind of a ceiling over the funnel?
Right now I don't. I have looked at, excuse me, the research I've done on anti-graffiti sealant. It tends to discolor the paint. It gives it a yellowish tint and can make the colors look dull and dingy. So for most of my project, I don't like to use it. If someone, was insistent on it, of course I would. But for the most part, I just try to use very, very high quality paint. The stuff that's made for outdoors, it's oil-based. I'm looking at oil-based now, but I've done, every just outdoor, like heavy